Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Active Transportation and Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, I would like approval of the agenda for November 3rd. Moved by Mayor Harrison, seconded by Councillor Katsovas. All in favor and carried. We now move to approval of the minutes of July 7th. It's recommended that the minutes be approved. May I have a mover for the minutes? Moved by Member Dewall, seconder, Member Warham. Any questions or comments regarding the minutes? All in favor and carried. There are no delegations or presentations this afternoon. So I'll move to public input. Is there anyone here this afternoon that would like to speak to items on the agenda? Yes, please come forward, sir. And good to see you. And we just like to ask for your name and I believe the address as well, please.
Yeah, my name is Remco de Gooijer. I'm here representing Digital Underground, located at 27 King Street. The parking spot slash not parking spot in front of our office is what I'm here about. As I understand it, that spot is a no parking spot. We would like to ask that it be changed into a 15-minute loading zone. We have a lot of parcels that come in and out. We would provide Purolator and FedEx services, and obviously with our products they can be a little cumbersome to carry. So having a spot there, especially for deliveries and or for anyone who's bringing equipment in or their packages in, would be beneficial.
Thank you. Are there questions of our public member today? Questions from anyone? Well, thank you very much. We'll address it in the agenda. Thank you. Okay, so we have a number of correspondence as amended with the supplementary that was just given later today related to traffic calming in Battawa, which takes us to correspondence A through K. So what I'd like to do is have a motion to approve correspondence, and then ask that if any member wishes to speak to them or have questions, Mr. Angelo as well as Mr. Shield are here to answer the questions. May I have a motion to approve correspondence? Moved by Mayor Harrison. Seconder. Seconded by Councillor Boyce. Now let's move to questions from committee of the correspondence. Please take your time. There's a lot of correspondence. Oh, I will, CAO Angela would like to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And perhaps I can just give you some of my thoughts and some of the correspondences that we received.
Thank you.
Some of them that you'll see here may require a staff report on. I'm going to suggest that any ones regarding requests for no parking on certain streets like Little Farm Boulevard, Mr. DeMeco's request about 27 King Street, that should be referred to staff for a staff report. So if council or committee wants to make that direction to the staff, that would be great. In regards to the whistle cessation on Hamilton and Leicester roads, some of the committee members may recall a few years ago when we looked at the Dug Hill Road crossing. There's a safety analysis that was done at a cost of, I think, about $5,600 per crossing. We only did the one crossing at that time. At that crossing, there needed to be about $500,000 worth of safety improvements before the train whistles could be stopped from continuing at that location. Additionally, I would add that I think at the time it was about $40,000 worth of extra cost to look at all the crossings within Quinte West to see if what upgrades would be required to accommodate the stopping of whistles. And at that time, there wasn't an appetite by our committee or council to do that. So I'll leave that for all of you to consider, but a safety assessment has to be done as a first step to see what sort of upgrades may or may not be required at specific crossings before we even can consider eliminating the whistles from being blown at those crossings. So if committee wants to give direction to staff to look at the 27 King Street one, about opening that up for 15-minute parking. I will tell you that staff are just completing the detailed design for Division Street improvements that are starting, be part of our construction project for next year. With that in mind, we're looking at the Market Square Road and how it ties into Division Street, right in behind the Market Square. Additionally, we're looking at that intersection of King Street and Market Square and looking at improvements there that will hopefully suggest changes to that intersection to make it better, which could accommodate the request from Remco that he's looking for. So I would like to have just a direction from committee to look at all that, and we'll bring that back as some of our, when we start having our public information centers with the DBA and with the public on how the configuration of Division Street ties in with this intersection, with Market Square, et cetera, and how that all can be facilitated.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo. Member Warren.
I will make that motion consistent with Mr. Angelo's suggestions, with the added request that a temporary spot be considered on Market Square until those improvements can be completed.
Very good. Seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Questions or comments related to that particular motion? All in favor? And carried. So further questions, comments regarding the other correspondence? Councillor Katsovas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just regarding Little Farm Boulevard, at the very least, if committee could consider having one side no parking for now, and then once the staff report comes up, maybe they suggest both sides have no parking, but at the very least, we start with the one, because they cite a safety concern when school buses are trying to navigate between, and I know some pictures actually overlapped, it's the same people that seem to be in a fence, but anyway, at least one side.
So, Mr. Angelo, you'll consider that with the staff report with respect to that particular area, or do you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I would. I guess just in discussion, Councillor Costa was raised. Are you looking at committee to make a decision today on one side and waiting for a staff report to come back on the entire roadway section?
I'm comfortable waiting for the report. I didn't know if staff had more insight than the information we were actually given. If it is an immediate problem that needs to be dealt with right now, I would make that motion about the one side, but if it's not, we can wait for the staff report.
Your wishes, Mr. Angelo.
Through you, Madam Chair, I guess my only concern is the committee doesn't meet until next year, 2026. So in my viewpoint, I think it might be wise to at least designate the east side of Little Farm Boulevard, the entire section adjacent to the concrete sidewalk, as no parking, no stopping. And I would suggest that's probably reasonable at this point in time. We can look at, as a staff report, looking at the west side in the future, but I think the immediate need in terms of safety and improvement of safety is designating that east side as no parking, no stopping.
Councillor Katsovas
make the
wishes
motion
to
then.
make the motion. Seconder, Member Duval. Questions or comments? Member Warren.
I would personally not support it, just because I feel like, because this is a straight run with limited access, about almost 2/3 of a kilometer, what generally happens in that situation is that with limited parking and wider roads, the speeds tend to build up. It might seem counterintuitive, but cars parked on the street provide a visual obstacle that slows drivers down. We can't really do anything about the size of the vehicles. However, when I look at each of the pictures that were presented to us, I see a lot of opportunities for bylaw enforcement. Cars parked on the wrong street, cars parked too close to intersections, commercial vehicles, yes, vehicles parked the wrong way, a vehicle parked across the sidewalk. There are a lot of violations besides the issue of too many cars. I feel like that's the way to go. That's my personal opinion.
Councillor Katsovas.
Just to his point, even if they're on one side, they're still going to see that as a a deterrent to speed. So they don't have to be on both sides. My experience driving, it doesn't have to be Little Farm Boulevard, it's almost any subdivision. If they were being courteous, they wouldn't park, even if they are on opposite sides, they wouldn't park parallel almost. They'd stagger themselves so that other cars could actually navigate or kids would be more visible. But what happens sometimes, that's the closest spot to their house or the mailbox, they park there and someone's right across the street. So only one car can narrowly fit through. That's my concern. So it's more of a safety thing than an inconvenience issue. So what, if the school buses have a hard time with two cars being parallel to each other, I would just like to stick with my motion and the one side.
Further comments or questions regarding the motion on the table? All in favor? It's carried. Okay, so that was, all righty. More discussion, comments regarding correspondence items. Councillor Boyce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted a couple of comments from our CAO on items F and K, and both of them pertain to traffic calming measures. And I know we've initiated some already in different areas, and perhaps you may comment on the ones proposed for Battawa as well as Wallbridge. I know Wallbridge has been I've received a number of calls throughout the last few years about speeding and different things in the Wallbridge area, and perhaps you can make some comments on both of those.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I guess the first thing I would say is we've just completed about 80% of our traffic calming pilot projects in the city. And Mr. Jackson has a report on some of that information in today's report. And Mr. Sheldon will talk about that as well today. Some of that information is really good information to use as we go forward. And I think I'm going to suggest that I'd like to really see how the winter season fares out with the permanent sort of asphalt speed humps we have in Centennial Park, to see on the how the impacts of that work through a winter season. Because I can honestly say that if going forward, I think some changes need to be made on some of our streets that we did this pilot project on. But I think it's very well received by the public in terms of slowing vehicles down. You can see from what the province is doing now with potentially looking at the elimination of automated speed enforcement and focusing on traffic calming initiatives, including roundabouts and speed humps and so the inline bollards. That seems to be the movement from the province in reducing speeds on roadways. And that certainly models what we've done in our pilot projects on 3 different streets in Quinte West. I think those are things that we're going to be looking for, and we'll propose on some of these intersections and streets for 2026 going forward. And certainly maybe in the village of Battawa or in the hamlet of Wallbridge would be great initiative, thank you, to do going forward. But I'd like to really, so seeing that feedback that we have on the pilot projects was really good information to move forward on in the city, so.
Yeah, and I have
A supplementary, Councillor Boyce.
thank you, Madam Chair. And I agree. So perhaps those couple items we can keep for after the winter, and just so that the individuals or the communities there know that we are, we're not just simply throwing those ideas away. We are going to look at them in the spring or early summer, and then based on how the things hold out in the winter, perhaps they can be notified that, we're going to be dealing with these 2 things.
Through you, Madam Chair, exactly. I think that's a good position to take, and some good foresight going forward. For instance, like the feedback we have on Montrose Road, where on that Country Club Drive, where some of the vehicles were avoiding some of the traffic calming we put on Montrose Road, was really, we really never thought about that as staff right at the outset when we started this. So that's some really good information to have, and will be good to use that as we go forward in some of the traffic calming projects we implement going forward.
Other questions? Member Warham?
Do we need a motion on that, or is that something that the staff is already working on?
Mr. Angelo, help clarify for me, please.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, I don't think we need a motion on that. We'll bring these back forward. Staff will have some correspondence with the residents that submitted those requests and let them know that we'll bringing back information in the spring for 2026.
There's anybody further? Okay, approval of the, oh, yes, yes.
Item A is a petition received from resident Chris Party regarding safety concerns on Graham Road. I requested more information from this, but it seemed like there wasn't anything. So if maybe we can make the request for more information from Mr. Party, who presented the petition. In our package, there were names, but no actual information about the request. And I do think that the city itself has a policy around petitions, and we have the speed limit review policy. So I'm not sure which of those would apply to this, but maybe some guidance on what type of motion to make for that.
Maybe, Mr. Angelo, we would motion to receive and provide our policy to Mr. Graham, which would give him the information necessary to go forward, because it doesn't have a lot there, just a list. Or do you want to speak to it?
I will. Thank you, Madam Chair. I
Okay.
did have the opportunity to talk to Mr. Party
Okay.
about some of the concerns he had, and majority of it related around the speed of vehicles on that entire stretch of roadway. And I'm very familiar with that roadway, and what I suggested to him is that I've been in contact with the OPP to put out some speed cameras in that area to figure out what the speed limits are so we can make some decisions going forward. So if we have that data, then staff can take a look at that and bring information back to this committee on next steps, if any, to go forward. A lot of times, as you know, the perception from residents is that there are speeding vehicles, but a lot of times what we're finding is it's just a perceived speed limit or speeding on the street, and majority of vehicles are complying with the actual speed. So it's one of those things I can appreciate that where the resident and the petitioners are coming from, but until we have some real data that we can do some analysis on, we really can't make any decisions until that time.
Anything further from any member at all? Councillor Katsovas?
Thank you. Just keeping with the speed, I seem to recall Nicholas Street's been up before, correct? They asked for one-side parking and to reduce the speed. Is that correct?
That
In the
is
past
correct,
meeting?
yes.
Just that, I'm not in favor of the speed bumps on a residential street. And I remember the OPP indicating that stop signs work better at reducing speed than actually reducing it to 40. Is there any area where they could put an additional set of stop signs? I know there are some already, like through Radeski and things like that. I'm just wondering if there's any opportunity to try and slow that traffic down, or have we ever put in the past, the speed cameras there as well, or the monitoring devices?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Councilor Kosovs, we have not put the speed cameras in there in the past, but that is something that we will want to do in the future. We have considered that section of the street, along with the Radeski Street in the past, looking at creating three-way or four-way stops, which wasn't well received in the past by the different committees. I think it was the old Public Works Committee that we had here in the past. I think we looked at where Van Alstyne Drive intersected with Nicholas Street, and we also looked at where Orser connected with Nicholas Street, creating three-way stops there, and that wasn't receptive to the committee at the day. But it's certainly something that we can take a look at. Again, it's about slowing down vehicles, and until we know the actual speed of the vehicles and what the percentile is, that it's above the speed limit or not, we really can't make those informed decisions, or staff make recommendations to this committee on options going forward until we have that raw data.
Oh, go ahead.
May I
Go
suggest,
ahead.
in terms of the schedule, I'm not sure where it's at, that the speed cameras go to Nicholas at some point, whenever time allows?
Through Madam Chair, and I won't speak for the OPP, but there's, on the list, there's probably 6 streets right now I've asked them to take a look at before winter. And again, we don't do the typical cameras and radar devices on the streets during the winter season, but there are a significant number of ones that we want to take a look at as a priority from this committee in the last couple of years that we want to take a look at and bring that information back. But I'll definitely put that on the list for the OPP, and as time permits, we'll get to that as well.
Thank you.
Member Warren?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I believe last year we approved the three-way stop on Leicester Road. That also was considered as part of a traffic calming measure. That might be relevant to what you're talking about on Nicholas. Have you received any feedback? I'm putting you on the spot here, you might not know, but have you received any feedback specifically on that as far as a traffic calming aid?
Mr. Angelo?
Through you, Madam Chair, I have not specifically received any positive or negative feedback on it. What I can tell you is that from the information that Mr. Jackson's provided for the committee is it appears that it has, the efforts of the traffic calming on Leicester Road have done its job in slowing down the speed of vehicles on that section of road.
Okay, I'm going to call all those in favor? No? Okay, this is for correspondence to be received, other than the options that we have dealt with separately. Move, because I know I have a mover and a seconder already. All those in favor? And carried. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move to consideration. We have a staff report from Mr. Robert Jackson, Manager of Engineering Services, regarding traffic calming measures. We have Mr. Riley Shield here as well tonight, if we have, or this afternoon, to speak to any questions that may come about from this report. And these are the options and some of the ideas that staff and our committee can use going forward with traffic calming measures. And when we get new funding, which I hope we do, we'll be able to utilize some of that funds towards these initiatives. So may I have a mover to receive? Get it on the floor. Councillor Boyce, seconder. Councillor Clare, sorry about that. Councillor Allen, questions or comments? Councillor Stedall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm getting lots of comments, actually, about the Montrose Road. So just a question on this. It says that we received the staff report, but is there any indication when we're going to be getting information back, when we're going to be making the next set of recommendations? Because I think, at least in the Montrose area, the residents are polarized by this traffic calming measure. They don't like the bollards. The speed humps are working, but they're rerouting the traffic. And, just constant about the fact that the speed humps may not be in the right place. I'm watching children actually pull the bollards right out and take them home. And it's just, we've seen trucks run down the ones that are in the middle of the road. There's all kinds of, vandalism that's going on. But then there's the other side where people are very happy, especially the people that are walking in the area, saying it's wonderful. It is, and I see myself that it has slowed down, so it is great. But I'm just looking for an end date to when this information will be coming back so that we can at least give that information to the residents rather than just receiving it.
CAO Angelo, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to the committee. At first glance, if you look at the report from Mr. Jackson regarding the traffic speed data on Montrose Road, it is clearly evident that before we installed the traffic calming versus after we installed the traffic calming initiatives, it clearly shows that the vehicle speeds have slowed on that section of the street. We have learned some very valuable lessons through the installation of the bollards and the speed humps on where they should be placed, if they're done in conjunction with each other, how some residents are avoiding them or going on some of the side streets. But in answer to your question, the plan would be to bring back a staff report back in the first meeting in the spring season to the committee on recommendations on where these installations will happen in the future for 2026 and some changes coming about. What we're really trying to see is how the paved speed humps in Centennial Park fare the winter season with the winter plowing operations, with the icing around the speed humps, how that's dealt with, any operational concerns that the operations team have in maintaining those the sections of roadway between the speed humps, and see how that works, and then bring a fulsome report back to the committee on all of that. The bollards and the speed humps on Leicester and on Montrose Road will be removed before the winter season, if not already. because it's not something that they were planned to be out through the winter season. We will be continuing to monitor the speeds through the speed cameras that are on that section of the street. So we'll see that data, how potentially the speeds could increase over the next several months of the winter season. And that'll be important information for the committee to use and for staff to analyze that data and bring back that information. But clearly, the traffic calming pilot project on Montrose Road has clearly reduced the speeding issue that was happening on Montrose Road itself.
Other questions or comments? Member Warren and then Councillor Armstrong.
I think one of the great things about this initiative, besides its effectiveness, is that it is relatively quick deployed and very inexpensive to do so. It means that we can take some chances on whether it will work or not, and if it doesn't, we can redeploy, we can move, we can take those tools that we've put in one place and move them to another. And as we continue to roll this out, we build up our toolbox to increase the amount of tools, both in terms of knowledge and actual physical supplies to improve traffic safety around the community.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong.
Through you, Chair. The humps on Montrose, are they coming out for the winter?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes,
Okay, that's part of the pilot. Okay,
correct.
that's all I wanted to know.
Any other questions or comments regarding the staff report?
Just
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
through you, Madam Chair, regarding Leicester Road, we had a couple of public meetings on Leicester Road regarding different issues, and everything I heard that day are very receptive and very positive with respect to what we've done over there for the traffic calming. So,
Very good. Thank you. Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the report? And carried. Is there any new or other business? New or other business? Any member? Councillor Stedall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question really to staff about the installation for potential roundabouts. I know that just seeing the curve section that is happening on Wallbridge Loyalist Road and 14, I wondered about, that potentially being a roundabout. The traffic is stopped there. Well, a lot of it is construction, but I know in the future we've talked about those, and I just wonder if they're on our radar, if there are any other roundabouts that are being considered in the rest of the city.
CAO Angelo, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. That's certainly something we did consider. I did talk to staff early this afternoon about that. The problem with that intersection was property acquisition would have been required, and we didn't have enough property to do that without going through a process, and we wanted to get that right-hand turn lane built as part of the project. We are considering roundabouts at several locations going forward. The most prominent one being, and you'll see from public information centers that are going to be happening over this winter season, is one on Division, Dixon, and Front Street happening. So where the old fire hall used to be, right at that intersection coming off the DJ McDonald Bridge, at that intersection will be a large roundabout being proposed at that location.
Good spot. Yes, Mayor Harrison.
through you, Madam Chair, what about number 2 highway?
Thank you, Worship. Through you, Madam Chair. Again, we're looking at roundabouts there as part of our design work for Highway 2 urbanization from Second-Delga Road all the way over to Willow Road. We'll be looking at 3 roundabouts at Second-Delga Road, Little Farm Boulevard, and Highway 2 Willow Road as well.
Excellent. Councillor Stedall.
Just to follow up, what about the other side of Highway 2 going east? If there is anything being looked at in the future there?
Through you, Madam Chair, we have looked at a few of them, one at the top of Gilmore Hill, at the top of where Marmer Street intersects with Dundas Street. So we looked at one there in the past. We are looking at other ones, other intersections going forward as we reconstruct or rebuild Highway 2 all the way to Belleville. As you recall, some of us had numerous discussions with the City of Belleville with a roundabout at Hamilton Road and Wallbridge Road, except I don't believe our partners to the east of us were supportive of it at that time, so.
Okay.
Madam,
Yes, go ahead.
They weren't even willing, they weren't even willing to talk about it, let
It
alone
would've-
provide any funds.
It would have been such a good
Some of
location,
us were
too.
in the
Some of us were, okay.
Councillor Armstrong.
Through you, Chair, 2 questions. the roundabouts, are you considering one at Montrose and Highway 2? Okay, that's a pretty busy joint.
Through you, Madam Chair, no, we have not, but when we look to the future of what the Highway 2 corridor might look like with an active transportation pathway and reconstructing of Highway 2, we'll probably end up looking at that time.
Okay, also, I talked to you a couple of weeks ago about McCall Street and busing.
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, to be honest with you, Councillor, I haven't had a chance to look into that yet, but it's still on my radar to take a look at.
Okay. Yes.
One more point. I'd like to ask our CEO, Chris Angelo, to update us on number 2 highway through the military section there, the base, what we're doing and what others are doing to reinforce the slowness and what has happened there before.
Through you, Madam Chair, thank you, Mayor Harrison. As many of you will recall from the last meeting of the committee endorsed some traffic calming initiatives with some solar flashing speed signs in that area. So we're tracking the data and the speeding and the speed of vehicles within that corridor in front of the base. Additionally, we supported the installation of a MAD sign in that area for Rebecca Beatty and the family, from who the family lost a tragedy a number of years ago. This Friday is the unveiling of the sign from MAD Canada and the family. I believe it's in the afternoon of November the 7th. But that's, I don't know, Your Worship, if that's what you're referring to.
Councillor Stedall?
Apologies, one more question. This is active transportation. Is the MTO is having a public information session for 401 coming up? Is that November the 7th? Is that I'm sorry, I just was thinking the committee might be interested in that.
Through Madam Chair, I believe it's November the 5th, because I could be wrong, but I think I've seen that on an email. It's November the 5th.
And it's on the website.
And thank you. And it is posted on our website, and I believe we are sending staff to go to that as well, so.
And I can give you a little bit more information, but not a lot. They're looking at doing work on the Stockdale Road and the 401 and the Stockdale, I'm assuming the underpass. Have you had anything on that?
Yes, Your Worship. So I've, based on the presentation that was made at council at the last meeting, I've sent a request off to the Minister of Transportation requesting that they keep the crossing on the active transportation pathway open and not close it off as they have suggested along the old railway line. Additionally, we've asked for active transportation pathways on the new bridges that are going to be reconstructed, St. Hilaire, Christiani, and I believe Stockdale Road to accommodate paved pathways on all of those structures that they're going to be replacing in the future.
Yes, and just further, I'll tell you that they are requesting the purchasing of land, farmland, and if you know, right along between the Stockdale Road and 33 Highway, there's a chunk of about 40 acres of prime farmland on the north side of the 401, and they're wanting to buy a very large portion of that piece of property and further up on the Stockdale Road as well. And that's maybe more than I should have said, but that's because I think it's all confidential at this time. They did have an information meeting, and a number of the people who own that property have been invited out to the meetings, and that's as far as I can go at this time. But there are a lot of things going on, and I think the objective in every situation is to make the 401 wider and also safer. So.
Okay, can I have a motion to, oh, sorry, Member Warren.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to draw attention to a couple of things that are happening. One, I've spoken to a lot of families with high school age students over the last year, and I know that we don't talk a lot about Quinte Transit here, but it is sort of under our oversight, and I just wanted to draw attention to a partnership between Quinte Transit and the school board that provides free transit for teenagers, grades 7 and up. which is, I spoke to the administration at Trenton High last week, and they described it as a game changer for getting students to the school safely. So I just wanted to draw attention to that. And I also wanted to mention, I won't talk about it much because it's something that's coming before council, but I know that the council is looking at temporary measures on Second Dug Hill Road, and they're meeting this week. So hopefully that's something that can go ahead. And I just wanted to add a little bit on the Mad Canada initiative to what Mayor Harrison and CAO Angelo have said. Rebecca Beatty is the face of the national campaign. They launched their campaign last week, and she is the face of that. Obviously, she lost her life along with Anastasia Collins, and I just wanted to recognize the work of the OPP on their initiatives to combat impaired driving, and I know that that was a discussion at the OPP detachment meeting, and the mayor talked about the importance of public transit and taxis being an important measure to providing people an opportunity so that they don't drink and drive.
Thank you very much. Mayor, yes, Mayor.
Hey, we've got Inspector here, McNaughton. Maybe
Yes.
she can update us on some of the most recent activities that they've dealt with respect to
Transportation?
and impaired driving.
Certainly. Inspector?
Thank you. First off, excuse me, I apologize for being late. I was in another meeting. Yes, I can give you an update. We finished our 2-week traffic initiative for impaired driving that we partnered with Belleville City, Central Hastings, and Prince Edward County. The stats that we have so far is in those 2 weeks, they were out every night, 4-hour period between around 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night in different areas. We did end up arresting 5 impaired drivers. We had 5 3-day suspensions in that time. They were using masks, which was a wonderful tool. And for those that aren't really aware, it's something that we have to decide at the beginning of the ride. Are we stopping and doing the roadside on every driver, or are we picking every 5th driver? There has to be a pattern to it. It goes in our notes, and then we follow that pattern throughout the ride. So the big push was to try in areas that we would be able to do the roadside on every driver. We have the authority to do that now. So 5 impaireds, 5 3-day suspensions. One of the impaireds was in Belleville, 2 in Central Hastings, and 2 in Quinte West. Several Highway Traffic Act offenses and several cannabis offenses that came out of those rides. After they just finished last night, the last ride was Sunday night, we will get together. The festive ride starts at the end of November, and then goes till January. So we'll look at continuing these impaired initiatives, probably February, March, April going forward. There were nights that we didn't have an impaired, and to me, that's a success. That's not a bad night, that's a successful night, because the last thing we want is actually to still be arresting impaired drivers. But because I know some of the officers were frustrated, they'd come back and be like, we didn't get anything tonight. Well, that's great. That's good news. They were doing several different locations because of the number of officers we were able to have out in one night. And areas that, from information gathered in previous impaireds, areas that we had arrested people in before. Setting up in those areas is important. So it was a successful campaign in the way that, yes, we did get some impaired drivers, but more that we got the information out to the public, that these rides were being set up, that we were using masks, the authority behind it, so the reason why we were doing it, and then updated media on a daily basis. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, yes, Councillor Armstrong.
Through you. The data that you have isn't a lot, but what would be the average age and possible gender?
I didn't look into age and gender for this presentation, but I will tell you that there is no age that is higher percentage than another one. We might get one in their 50s one day, and the next day it'll be a younger person in their 20s. It's all over the map. It's all over the map at times of day, days of the week. The impaireds we got in Quinte West were on the weekend. There were none here during the week, but we get them we get them in the morning. We get them in the afternoon, we get them in the evening, so.
Possibly because people are staying at home watching the baseball.
Mayor Harrison?
Well, I just want to acknowledge the fact that our inspector is a part of the team.
Well, thank you very much to be parting with the team. Yes, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Anything further? Oh, I'm sorry, Member
All good.
Dwell.
I just want to ensure that the gentleman that came has his temporary parking spot, 15 minutes parking before we adjourn.
We referred that earlier to a staff report.
But I thought we were going to provide him one for 15 minutes as part of Mr. Warham's motion on a temporary basis.
I missed
I
that
can
then.
clarify. I did request not, I didn't specifically request that it happen now. I requested that staff consider that as in their, just because what staff had spoken about was a much larger project to redevelop that area, which might be years down the road. So part of their consideration will include a temporary measure, but not necessarily right now, not after this meeting.
Is there something we can do for him in the meantime? Like, can
Don't
can
think
I
so,
make
but
that
Mr.
motion?
Angelo, I'll have you speak to it, but we referred it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the concern from staff was, I remember when those parking spaces were created and that section of the street was changed the way it looks to today, was a large panel van parked at that one location impacts your visibility coming out of Market Square onto King Street. But if we're changing all that direction to two-way traffic in that immediate area, then that parking spot, the 15-minute parking spot, can be created without any issues for impacting traffic. Because what we're talking about when we're redoing Division Street is a realignment and redirection of traffic flow on Market Square towards Division Street rather than towards King Street in the opposite direction. So then visibility and impacts on safety are eliminated based on that. And that way that 15-minute space can be created. So long story short, it can happen. It just can't happen until we do some work on Division Street to allow that all to happen.
Thank you. And now we will have motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Reed, seconder by Mayor Harrison. All in favor? And our next meeting will be in 2026, and we'll wait that schedule at that time. Thank you all for coming, and have a good evening.